In the last video of Arcadian Adrift, we'd made it down to Tauranga from Auckland and we're about to haul the boat out for some maintenance. Before getting into it, we headed to the Te Bridge Club to play a sneaky tournament. It was then back to the boat and down to business. To get the boat out of the water, we needed to leave the marina and make our way to the travel lift where a hoist would pick us up and pop us onto a hardstand cradle. You drive the boat over a couple of slings, which then whip the boat up, and once lifted the whole crane hoons around the yard and drops you in your spot. There was a big, dumb list of things that needed to be done to the boat, and the first of these was anti-fouling. Anti-foul is a type of paint which leaches chemicals that give any marine life attempting to grow on your boat cancer. Without it, a boat hull ends up looking like this. After a water blast, any flaking paint is taken off using a scraper. Then the whole hull is given a wet sand. Badly flaked and cracked sections are then feathered in using a sanding pad. You then paint any spots where the wood is exposed with an underwater primer. After this, the hull is finally ready for the new anti-foul. 2 coats usually slapped on, with extra love being given to the leading and trailing edges like the front of the keel or the back of the rudder. Once dry, the masking tape is then peeled off like dead sunburn to reveal crisp edges. Some of the fiberglassing on the rudder was buggered, so after a few YouTube videos I decided to give it a crack. Mixed up some epoxy, spread it on the prepped area and placed some glass cloth over it, wetting it down. I repeated this with a second layer, and once it was dry I could feather it in by sanding. Next up on the list was the packing gland, which is what seals the propeller shaft from water outside. For this you cut 3 sections of waxy rope material and stuff it around the shaft. The whole thing is then jammed up with grease to stop any leaks. Helping me out on this job was my mate Baden, and it turns out when you get help from one part it's a combo deal. Along with Baden I was helped by his brother Curtis and his dad Stephen. While me and Baden were sorting the packing gland, Stephen and Curtis were getting the old skin fittings out so that I could replace them with nice new ones. Skin fittings are basically real flash holes in your boat that you can put valves on. These were going to be used for the toilet, a small one to let the water in for flushing and a big one to let everything that needed to be flushed out. There were some rotten sections of the rail that needed replacing, and as fate would have it, Stephen was a master joiner. So we headed back to his workshop where we all chipped in to get the job done. Once everyone had left, I actually had to do some work. I prepared the rail for painting and started a few other small jobs. Sealed some leaks in the deck. Re-riveted some sections of the boom. Installed the transducer for the depth sounder. And removed some rust. When it came to painting, we agonised over the colour scheme. We were able to prep and paint some of the smaller parts back at the house. On the boat, we painted the hull, deck and roof. The par boys returned the next day and we started tackling the duckboard, which is the deck hanging off the back of the boat. All the areas where the duckboard screwed into the boat had rotted out and wouldn't hold. The guy showed me what was needed to fix it. First, the rot was cut out. It was then allowed to dry before epoxying in new sections of wood. After this, you could fiberglass over the top and paint. I then repeated this process on a few other areas that needed a bit of work. Now, Charlotte's dad had recently built a deck, and with some of the offcuts, Curtis had remade the entire duckboard floor, doing an awesome job. Installing this was the last job before Arcadian went back into the water. Join us next time as we finish off the inside of the boat.